Before we start, I would like to ask all of you to quickly take your seats because this is an exam, so there will be a recording that will be sent to the university. So it will be good if you can quickly find your seats and just settle down and enjoy the recital later, alright? So with that said, we'll start at 12:30 sharp and see you all.
Hi everyone. Just a little reminder, no flash photography, yeah? Thank you.
Check test. Hi everyone, welcome to my pre-graduation recital. My name is Dishon and I would like to bring you through the beginning stage of my music journey. At the start, I used to have a lot of questions and doubts about what my role and persona would be. Am I a pianist, a bassist, a composer, or a performer even? And you know, all this, there was this constant struggle within me that even as I constantly compare with myself. And with this first tune that we're going to present to you, I want to capture the confusion that was going on inside my mind. So with that said, presenting the first tune, In Over My Head. Give it up to Kah Loke, Caven, and Jiun. We move on to our second tune for this recital, which is an orchestral piece. It's going to be played back called Wanderer in Metropolis. So this piece depicts the story of a country folk entering into the city. And as he enters the city for the first time, he actually finds himself in a new environment with different challenges. At first, he finds it hard to adapt at first, and even to the point of almost breaking down. But in the end, everything fell into place. There are three movements to this orchestral piece. The first movement is titled The Arrival, the second one is Meltdown, and the last one is Rehabilitation. So with that said, sit back, relax, and enjoy. Yes. Alright. Thank you everyone for listening to my second piece, which is Wanderer in Metropolis. Now, moving on to the third song. Coming back to my experience, when I had a lot of all these doubts and questions, then I had very low self-esteem of myself, and I felt I wasn't enough. And being overwhelmed with negativity, it just was very horrible, right? And I came to realize that actually I can't continue to go on like this anymore, and that I needed to make a stand above all the noise in my head. So how did I make this stand then? Well, it goes something like this. Back then, I thought everyone was right, that I should fit into their type. They tell me I should try to be this or that guy, but truly this is not what I want. I've been hearing all the noise inside my head. It makes me feel so tired of this. Always feel that I should have my own identity, but the real missing out is overwhelming. Pretending to be someone I'm not used to be, and losing sight of what the journey holds in front of me. And having been the best of my until being, honestly, who I am to my liking, feel as though I'm not enough to match with the rest. Will they stay the same as what they are? The nights are overwhelming, like the edited I breathe. Would I settle to die inside? Don't let the voice tell you who you are. Take a chance to believe in your heart. Don't let us drown you alive. 'Cause we will drown our lives. Change, I moved on from all the struggling. Everything makes sense now. I'm thinking straight and clear. I have a hold of my whole life, and now I'm hand. Realize all this years have not gone to waste. Now I see the rainbow in the picture ahead. I'll be taking on the latest, as some people say. And holding on to the shade of where we stand. Keeping on to the right. Those times we once trapped here, now have no hold on me. I was settled to go back inside. thank you everyone. That was Drum Lies, the third song. Give it up to Kevyen and Ming, and also Jiun, just now, Yiee, and also Gideon. And now I have Dishon and Caven rejoining me on stage. And we have arrived at the final tune, where it also signifies the point where I came to realize what kind of persona I would want. And it actually boils down to my raison d'etre, which actually means reason for being in French. Now, what is my raison d'etre then? To put it plainly, I've realized that my raison d'etre would be to share the love of music to everyone around me and use my music to bless lives. And that I also hope that in this journey that you will also discover your raison d'etre. Without further ado, the last tune, Raison d'etre. Thank you everyone. That was the last tune, Raison d'être. I know that my repertoire has already exceeded the time, so I'll keep this short. So I'd like to appreciate some people who made this possible. Firstly, I'd like to thank my band, especially Dishon and Caven for playing the first tune and the last tune. And then also I also like to thank also Kah Loke. Yeah, Kah Loke. Thank you so much, Kah Loke on trumpet. And then also Gideon and Kevyen on BB. Yes, thank you so much. And then also Phang on drums, Gideon on bass, and James on piano. I also like to appreciate my sound man, Crystal, thank you so much. And also Rachel for helping with the recording. My stage managers, Rong. My stage crews, Siang and Dariuz. For lights, I have Hannah, and for slides, I have Phang. And also, I also like to thank my photographer and my videographer, Yiee. Thank you so much. And I also like to thank my brother-in-law. My brother-in-law said, thank you so much for the photo shoot, for the poster. And also, I'd like to thank my church friends, Yiee and Joseph. Joseph is there. Thank you so much for designing my program notes and my poster as well. But that's it. Thank you so much for coming. Your presence is really a blessing to me. And with that said, thank you so much. Have a safe trip and have a good sun break. Thank you.